I ended up coming to reGROUP, and the thing I thought I was coming for wasn't really the thing I was coming for. It took a real life-altering betrayal on my part to my wife to open up the idea of like, wow, this is a lot bigger than you think it is, and you can't just pretend anymore.
My anxiety and my depression in life and other things that had happened over my life made me feel isolated and ignored and kind of alone.
I didn't want to be the highest power of my life. I didn't want God per se. I had a desire for something bigger than myself, and I made that bold action because there was nothing else that I could do.
With God, it was so much easier for me to stay angry with him, just keep him at an arm's distance, than to actually have him engage with my broken heart.
It really came down to I didn't trust God. I didn't trust that he had good things in store to me, so I wanted to take what wasn't mine. I wanted to take what I thought was rightfully mine, what might have meant happiness or joy or pleasure, because obviously God was not going to give it to me.
Realizing that the perfectionism and the constant need for people to congratulate me or to tell me I did a good job was what I was living off of, and it wasn't working.
I was raped when I was 9 years old, and I had always felt like God had abandoned me. I wasn't free of that moment until letting God really into it and recognizing that he wasn't sitting there letting that happen to me, but instead he was sitting there and his heart was breaking the same way that mine was as my innocence was stolen from me. And recognizing that in that moment God was fathering me, allowed him to father me in really every area of my life for the first time.
In the Bible, you see Jesus loving sinners, and I think that he loves all of us, but he understands that we all sin and we all hurt, and a lot of our sin comes out of places of brokenness.
The lie that you tell yourself is that you're only hurting yourself, and that somehow that's even okay.
When I share my brokenness with others, it's the opposite of what I thought would happen. I felt like I was going to feel shame, but shame exists in hiding. Shame exists in not exposing yourself.
I had to put it all down. I had to say all of it. I had to reveal every single dark part of myself. I had to rip open every scab and let the thing bleed out. Otherwise, the infection just would have stayed. I would have kept believing all of my false beliefs.
It became this process of learning vulnerability, learning to actually risk sharing my heart with others.
And through community, through those people sticking by my side, this is what it means when Jesus says he's not leaving. And these are just people who mean so much to me, and they're not leaving. But God doesn't leave. I think that was a big turning point, that Jesus wasn't leaving me to figure this out on my own.
God didn't mean for us to be alone, so why would he mean for us to go through healing alone?
Being able to look at my small group leaders and knew that they had been in my shoes, and seeing their hope when I felt at times hopeless.
That I'm at a place now that I don't know that I ever would have imagined would have been possible. And the fact that I can then journey alongside these women has been really incredible for me.
Every woman that I meet with, I see new bits and pieces of my own story and my understanding of life and people. And I just see that we all have our own issues, and we're all struggling, and we need God in the same way.
What you're giving yourself is the gift of really, really deep community. You're giving yourself the opportunity to hear God's truth in your story, in parts of your story that you probably didn't even know existed.
Instead of living a life for myself and proving myself, I have a life that I live for others that has God there for me. And I didn't need God to live a life for myself, and I certainly need him to live a life for others.
I have no regrets. I don't wish it looked any different, and I can't say that for any experience I've had in my life.
It will be worth it. You're worth it, and your relationship with God is worth it.